OMG. The Aeroton Cocaine Chain of Custody timeline. The drugs that moved. So did the story. It has many versions. So prepare your cup of tea. Rooibos tea is my favorite. And I'm going to answer two questions. Who was in charge of the crime scene and who the drugs belong to in this recording? And I'm going to tell you that the Wadlanga Commission took us through a roller coaster of different versions of this Aeroton cocaine bust. The day of the bust is 9 July 2021, starting with the tip off. An informer by the name of Tumelo Nku allegedly gives information about a cocaine shipment. The information flows to Chief Samuel Mashaba of Traffic, Warrant Officer Marumo Magane, CIMAC. That's red flag number one. The SAPS protocol is that Magane should have called 10 for help. Now, let's look at who all these three players that we have just now introduced. Let's start with Warrant Officer Marumo Joseph Magane, who works for Zonkizizwe SAPS attached to CIMAC. He has a desk job, just like myself. He works 9 to 5 and off on the weekends. He does crime stats, data integrity, crime pattern analysis, environmental scanning. He just has a desk job with the SAPS. I don't even think that he has a weapon, but he does have a badge. He explains CIMAC as a unit responsible for crime states, not normal investigations. His job description does not give him any permission to even touch this crime scene. What he was supposed to do was cordon the crime scene area and call 10 follow the protocol. But anyway, next player is Samuel Mashaba, who is a chief of Gauteng Traffic Police. His job description is that he is a traffic enforcement resources, road operations, vehicle interception. He's the kind of person that will stop you and write you a ticket. But for some reason, he says he has an informer. What does a traffic police need an informer for? That's another red flag. I hope you're keeping count of these red flags. So now we move on to the informer, who is in Tumelo Nku. See, this person used to work at Transnet in the container logistic knowledge. While he was working there, he discovered that he could make more money doing the rip-off, rip-on. General Steyn explained it in his testimony. The rip-on, see this picture here? So the containers, when they come in with drugs, they are sealed. So if you know the container ID or ID number, you go and remove the seal, remove the drugs, and then inside there will be a duplicate key to seal the container. So the owners of the container don't know anything about these shenanigans. Tumelo's job is to do this rip on, rip off. And then something clicked. This guy worked with Lucky Molefe and Tumelo Molefe. You know what? I'm not going to go into it. So all these three worked for Transnet somehow. Okay, let's go back. Let's just go back. Officer Magane leaves his desk job 8 to 5 Monday to Friday at Zonkizizwe police station, travels 23 kilometers towards Rudeport past Soweto, Yellow Jersey Logistics in Rudekop, the truck where the truck and container is located. The major issue, another red flag, the truck is not secured there. The container continues moving towards Aeroton because the owners of the Yellow Jersey manager said, no, you cannot open this container here because it belongs to Scania. So the customer has to break the seal. The customer has to rip off the seal. So we will take this container to the customer, who is Scania and Aeroton, and the container will be opened there with the customer. So what does Magane do? He doesn't call for assistance. He escorts the container all the way to Scania. So that distance is another 23 kilometers to Scania, where the container is opened and black sports bags are discovered. You see, Magane says when they opened the container with the customer at Scania, black bags just fell off. Later confirmed to be cocaine. Okay, so this is the turning point. The bags are loaded into Magane's SAPS black Nissan Bakkie. This becomes the central dispute. Version A, we were preserving the exhibits. And version B, they were trying to leave with the drugs. So which version are we going to go with here? Guys, I'm trying to recover from a really bad flu. I don't know if it's hantavirus or what. So while I blow my nose, can you be listening to this tape?
Certain facts that have come out of the evidence or indicators that I want you to understand why there is concern about your role in this and the kind of conclusions that I shared with you earlier to say it looks like you were part of a scheme to intercept these drugs. One, and I'll list them, just try and remember them, but it all comes from the evidence, okay? And one is, you are an office-bound person by your job. On that day, and your commander says that, and on that day you left the office to be involved with a drug bust because Mashaba, who's not your friend, he's not someone you work with every day and do operations with, calls you out of the blue and says, come and help me. So we've established that you leave your desk job to go and assist him in a drug bust where you have absolutely no experience. You don't know the protocols that apply. You've never done a drug bust, but you go and assist and join him when you have no relevant experience. That's one. Two, from the evidence, you did not call any relevant role players to come to the scene. You did not call LCRC, you did not call SANEB, you didn't call dog unit. The one person you called who said, I'm unavailable, you didn't say, put me through to somebody else or to your commander or something. You let it be Maja. I think that was Maja. When Maja says, I'm unavailable, who is dog unit, that was the end of it. You never called dog unit. You didn't try to call the forensic lab. You didn't call Vispol. You didn't call Boysons. You didn't call anyone that's relevant. You went to an operation with you didn't call LCRC. You went to an operation with someone who's come to you with information to say, SAPS, here's information, and you go there. That's 2. 3, you let Mashaba run this operation on your own evidence. You told us that he was in charge from the get-go. He was in charge of this, in spite of a national instruction that says you are the first responder, which you accept, and therefore you should take responsibility for that operation. You allow yourself to be run by a traffic officer on a scene where the national instruction says you must take responsibility. Having done that, you completely participate in contamination of the exhibits and the scene. You do that. We've established it's because you don't know anything about the protocols and procedures, but you undermine completely any chance of a successful investigation, where these things come from, who touched them, because of you touch them and you get other people to touch them. So I think that's 4 for me, 5. We now have these WhatsApp messages where now we know someone was interested in the interception. You say you know nothing about it, but we know that's in the mix, right? Now we know that it was in the mix. Someone was exchanging WhatsApp messages about the very drugs that you are part of, the operation of which you are part of, and you're supposed to be in charge, but you are not in charge. Mashaba did not inform his superior, and you say, if you don't inform your superior, and I accept that. If you don't inform your superior, there must be an ulterior motive why you do so. And then lastly, in my list, there is the issue, the concerning issue one, you have someone who's supposed to be an informer being inexplicably part of your operation, even if you say he just sat there and watched. Inexplicably, you've got someone who's watching, seeing, going with you to track where the drugs are going. He's going with you from Yellow Jersey to Scania. If you had left that place, Scania, before Boysons arrived, he would have been going with you. So you've got someone whose presence is not satisfactorily explained, and you, first responder, are allowing all of this. He sees what's happening. But here's another worrying issue that Commissioner Khumalo has raised with you. This person has money, has a stash of money in their car. This unexplained person, this person whose presence is unexplained, supposed to be an informer, but his presence is uninformed. He's found to have a lot of money on him. That doesn't look good on these facts when you look at all of these facts. And what I want to put to you on all of those facts is that I hope you do understand how that reasonably creates a basis for suspicion about your own involvement in this. At best, you may have been innocent and been used by Mr. Mashaba. You came in innocently thinking you are here to assist someone who wants assistance. But the full set of facts here shows that this operation was not a legitimate police operation. And the suspicion that these drugs were not intended, at least not all of them, but according to the WhatsApp messages, all of them, in fact, are supposed to be delivered elsewhere other than police station, does not look good on you. It makes you appear to have been knowingly a part of this illicit operation, that you were brought in just to create the cover of SAPS, because that's what you did. Knowingly or unknowingly, you created cover for Mashaba, that when you went to Yellow Jersey, you were able to say, I'm SAPS, here's my card. You did that. You got to Scania, you said, here, I'm SAPS. When other police officers arrived, you said, here, I'm SAPS. So you provided cover to someone who, in fact, this was his consignment. It wasn't yours. He got the information. It wasn't your consignment. You didn't find it. So I hope you understand how it looks and how it creates suspicion about your own involvement and your own knowledge of what, in fact, was happening in this scene or was supposed to happen. You understand what I'm putting to you, and you can comment if you want to.
Commissioners, with all fairness, I won't dispute your remark. In all honesty, I still maintain my innocence. I don't know how best can I explain this.
Poison members arrive with marked SAPS van and they block the black Nissan. This is where chaos ensures. Evidence later says the Baki appeared to be leaving. This is what Colonel Sebola says. This becomes the basis for radio calls, escalation, DPCI involvement, and becomes chaotic. SANEB and DPCI take over. Specialist narcotics members are called. Lieutenant Sebola is at the drug scenes. He says that the drug scenes should be handed to specialist drug investigators immediately. The scene already was chaotic at that point. Now, let's stop and look. Who is Sebola? Nkwana Joseph Sebola is DPCI SANEB narcotics investigator. His job is drug bust investigations, organized crime, narcotics enforcement, DPCI. So he is the right person to be at this scene at this time. Han and Kadwa arrive. I'm suspicious because these two amigos, they arrived at the same time. Kadwa had a better institutional reason to be there, but Khan had the most suspicious conduct once he was there. Because when these two amigos showed up, everything changed. The original officers, Mashaba, Magane, and their informer, Tumelo Nku, were arrested. He actually called them Tsotsi police because they were trying to steal the drugs. While all this is happening, from Yellow Jersey all the way to Scania, there is a BMW with no registration that is being driven by the informer, Tumelo Nku. This BMW is at the crime scene the whole entire time. And when later on they searched it after they had arrested the owner, the 60,000 rands in cash was found right there in plain sight. So what was this money for? If you have not been listening, this is the time to pay attention. Pay attention, please. Because I try to remember that General Shibiri, in his testimony in the Madlanga Commission, he mentioned something about this drug bust. So I went back into the transcript. Major Shibiri said that he received information from General Khan that he was tracking the consignment from Durban and wanted to intercept it earlier. But by the time he got to Yellow Jersey, the gate was closed. So this means the rip-off, rip-on method could not be completed by the person driving the BMW that has 60,000 rands in cash. Are you guys following? So do you guys see who the owner of these drugs is? Sorry, let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back to this map. So while Magane was escorting the container from Yellow Jersey to Scania, he called for additional backup. He called the officer Phakula. Warrant Officer Boy Steve Phakula, on the day of this drug bust, he was actually off duty at home. He got a call from Magane, and okay, so what is his job? One officer Phakula. He works for National Investigation Unit. He works on high-profile investigation, blue light robberies, airport robberies, head office inquiry about files, cross-border operation history, the illegal firearms, stolen cars, blah, 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 blah. He had some drug case experience, but he is not from SANEB. He is not trained to be handling this kind of a scene. And he admitted that himself. He had not dealt with the drug bust of this magnitude. So he was not supposed to be here. So this makes it 5 people who were not supposed to be here, but they were here. And then another person who was not supposed to be in this crime scene is none other than Major General Feroz Khan. His job is crime intelligence gathering, source informer handling, operational intelligence. So maybe this is why I'm thinking. No, actually, I'm not thinking it. This is what happened because we already know. Shibiri already told us that there was somebody tracking this container, and it's none other than Tumelo Nku, who is Khan's informer. He is not this informer, Tumelo Nku. They need to break him softly. So Feroz Khan himself was not supposed to be here in this crime scene. This has nothing to do with his job. Well, with Kadwa as well was not supposed to be there, but he can get away with it because he is DPCI he's the provincial head of DPCI. So he has senior oversight, ensures that proper DPCI SANEB response, ensuring lawful handling and major transnational narcotics cases and preserving evidence. Maybe he was supposed to be there, but he is too senior to have been there. But anyway, I sequel up. All these people were not there. Let's go back to our timeline. And then Warrant Officer Phakula, when he was released from prison, apparently was having WhatsApp exchanges with General Khan to a point where they had to meet and they had to discuss about these drugs. Khan asking him who the drugs belong to, and Phakula replying, saying that the drugs, people say that the drugs belong to you. And then Warrant Officer was asked about why he did not report that conversation to IPID. He had no reason. He didn't report it to IPID, so it was never investigated, or it's still not being, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen because the two of them had an understanding of who the drugs belong to. So, going back to this map again. So while this container was moving from Yellow Jersey to Scania, the customer, there were other WhatsApp messages. The informer was not just reporting information. He may have been communicating inside the logistics chain. Tumelo Nku, the informer or the source of this drug bust, Chief Samuel Mashaba, the traffic officer, an East Rand businessman who the commission did not name, described in evidence of Major General Steyn as a possible middleman between the Brazilian drug operation and the local South African operations. Steyn says Nku and Mashaba were in direct communication with the Israel businessmen. These WhatsApp messages happened the night before because Nku knew that there was about 700 kgs inside the container, and the businessman was saying, let me know when you have updates. And then things went wrong the following day because Nku got to the gate when it was locked and he couldn't get inside. Now, the following day, he could not get in access to these drugs before the container was passed on to the customer. When this drug bust was finally in the hands of the right people, which is Colonel Francis Steyn, who is DPCI, serious organized crime, SANEB, narcotics specialist. His actual job lane is these drug busts. This is his specialty. So the only two people that were supposed to be in this crime scene, handling this crime scene, was Colonel Francis Steyn and Sebola. Those are the only two people that were supposed to be here. Everybody else was not supposed to be here at all. Maybe Kadwa can get away with it. Maybe he can get away with it. After the bust, boys in SAPS 13, which is located close to Scania, booked the exhibits. The storage was transferred there, but apparently, according to Steyn, there was issues with the cocaine being at Boysen police station because there was just too many people around the police station. So they ended up moving the exhibits to SAPS College Strong Room in Pretoria. Steyn later admits this was outside normal protocol, but says it was for security reasons. No problem. When the drugs got to Pretoria, Captain Dale Noche receives the key control. Steyn says Noche had total control of the strong room from 12th July 2021. 19 July 2021, the exhibits were handed to the Forensic Science Lab, the FSL. It's important there was already a delay between the seizure, storage, and forensic intake there. The strange brick. 10 August 2021. One cocaine brick appears later with a different forensic bag number. Where was it booked before? Who booked it? This is where the control collapse begins. Bag numbers not fully reconciled. Exhibit records do not perfectly match. No clear regular inspection trail appears. The control failure window happened between 19 July 2021 and December 2024. The cocaine was supposedly under formal storage custody, but the evidence exposes a serious control weakness here. No visible regular reconciliation, no regular independent inspection, no recurring seal verification, no documented custody audits surfaced, no early detection of any missing cocaine, The result is that the original weight was 715 in brick format. Later, in December 2024, the weight was 579 in powder form. And nobody knows that this powder, is it cocaine or something else? So 136 kgs of cocaine is definitely missing. The commission is trying to figure this out. They have to tell us if the powder form is actually cocaine or something else, and what happened to 136 kgs, and that one brick that just resurfaced. The commission also needs to tell us where that is all coming from. But one thing for sure, we know who the owner of these drugs is. So let's not beat around the bush. When they come back, June 1st, we need to see that person on the hot seat. Aslani la.